Do you have dreams of learning how to solo on the ukulele? Well, in this video, I'm going to go over the 5 common mistakes people do when they're soloing. Welcome to ukelikethepros. I'm Terry Carter, and this video is going to help you tremendously if you want to get down and start soloing on the ukulele. But first of all, I appreciate you being here. Thank you for all the support. If you're into what we do here, ukulele reviews, tutorials, challenges, giveaways, all that kind of stuff, make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on that bell notification. And if you're digging this video, smash that like button. I'm giving you this video here because I want to help you. I want to help you become a great soloist. Doesn't matter if you want to do blues or pop or rock or country. Doesn't matter what style you want, but there's some basic things you have to understand. And as a teacher for a long time, I've seen these 5 mistakes over and over again. I'm going to go over these right here with you today. Also, this is helping us get ready for my Beginning Ukulele Soloing course that I have. Absolutely a fantastic course. We'll put links to that. So if you're into this, you want to become a great soloist, make sure to check out that course over at ukelikethepros.com. All right, so shall we dive in? The five most common mistakes people make when they're soloing. Number 1 is people do not know their scales. And when I say know their scales, I don't just mean you have it in front of you, you can look at the tab or the notation, whatever. I mean, you have them memorized, you have them down. So for this lesson, I'm going to be using the C blues scale for this lesson, just to show you, but it doesn't matter if it's the major scale, the blues scale, or the minor pentatonic, the major pentatonic. Actually, those are the 3 most common scales. And by the way, those are the scales that we really cover in that beginning soloing course. You have to get them down, memorized, so you don't even have to think about them. Because if you have to think about them, then you're thinking about the scale and you're not thinking about the notes that you're playing. So make sure, get the scales down, get them memorized, get them in your soul, get them in your hands, get them in your head, get them in your ear. And then when you start to solo, it's just, you got to find the notes, the phrasing that really works for a good solo. All right, the second reason here, let me show you before I tell you what it is, and you tell me what I'm doing wrong. All right, enough of that. What did I do wrong? The second thing people do is they play too much, all right? Being fast, being fancy, all that kind of stuff, whatever. That's not the point. I mean, especially if you're playing something like the blues, that doesn't really need that. But anyway, people play too much. They just play too many notes. They don't ever stop playing. They just play. So if you've ever soloed, is that something you do? Just play too much? Let me know in the comments below. All right, the third most common mistake people do when they're soloing, and I'm going to help you with this right here, is phrasing. And that kind of leads into what we talked about number 2. People play too many notes. They don't phrase. So when you think of phrasing, you can almost think of how we're talking here. We're just talking sentences. We give little pauses. We breathe. That's very important. When you're just noodling over, you're not breathing. You're not phrasing, right? It's almost like if someone just, the people, like, have you talked to someone, they don't ever stop. They just lead like one sentence into another, into another, into another. You never even have a chance to even give your opinion, right? And that's what it is soloing, right? You got to think of it as lyrical. People told me you got to think like a saxophone player, They can only play so much on a breath, and they got to what? They got to stop, take a breath. And so there's a natural break in their playing, and that's called phrasing. So you got to get some phrasing down. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. how did that feel, right? A lot better than what I was playing earlier, just jamming. Phrasing, little sentences, almost like you're speaking to your audience through your instrument. All right, the fourth mistake is, and by the way, thanks for being here. Thanks for smashing that like button. I do appreciate it. The number 4 problem or issue, or mistakes that people have when they're soloing is that they don't learn solos in the style of what they're trying to do. So you have to go learn from the best, right? You have to go, if you want to do the blues like we're doing here, you got to go and learn some solos from the blues greats. It doesn't even matter who they are, Muddy Waters or Albert King or B.B. King, doesn't matter, but you got to go learn because that is going to teach you kind of what we talked about in the last one is some phrasing, some ways to make it sound authentic, just like the pros do. And without that, you're going to just sound kind of not so pro. So anyway, you got to learn some other solos and you got to get their licks down. Okay, so that kind of helps, again, into the phrasing thing we talked about. When you learn some licks like, well, that's just a little lick. And once you learn a little lick like that, you can start putting those into your solos, just like something like this. Just little stuff like that, these little ideas, these little licks, you got to get them. Where do you get them? You learn them from the pros. You learn them from the best that are out there in the business. Again, if it's blues, you listen to the blues guys. If it's pop or rock, you listen to the pop and rock guys, or whatever. Country music, you listen to country. So you get my point, but you got to learn some phrasing. You got to learn some licks to get your solo sounding great. All right, now the 5th mistake that people make when they're learning how to solo, and by the way, we're going to cover this. If you have more questions, you want to learn what we're talking about right here in this video, check out the Beginning Soloing course at ukelikethepros.com. It's a fantastic course. I'm going to teach you everything. I want to show you the scales. I'm going to show you solos and licks and all that stuff, and I'm going to help you create your own solos based on everything that we're talking about right here. All right, this one is very, very important. This number 5 here is listening. Now, I've kind of talked about that in the last one, but this is really key. Just literally listen. Okay, so again, we'll just take the blues. If you want to learn how to play in the blues style, you got to start listening to the blues greats. Even before like you start trying to copy their licks, just listen. Listen to B.B. King. Listen to Muddy Waters. Listen to Albert King, or, I mean, you could even listen to Jimi Hendrix. He's very bluesy. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Clapton, which doesn't matter, but you got to listen to this blues style. And again, whatever style you're trying to learn, pop or rock or country or whatever, Christian music, whatever it is, you got to listen to that music because what's going to happen here is just by osmosis, you're going to start hearing the phrasing, the ideas that they do. And even though you may not be able to play all their licks, you're going to be able to, through osmosis, again, it will come out in your playing once you start listening to it. So this is a very simple one. Everybody can do that. Is just start listening to solos and you'll start absorbing it. You start getting it into your body, into your soul. And then when you play, it's going to come out. All right, so those were the 5 mistakes that people make when they're soloing. Shall we review them? Let's go over them one more time. Number 1 is they don't memorize the scales needed to solo. Number 2, you play too many notes. Number 3, you don't breathe while you're playing. Your solos aren't lyrical, right? Remember to breathe. Very, very important. You got to breathe. Number 4 is that you don't learn from the greats. You don't go and learn some solos, learn some licks, learn a little bit about phrasing on how to solo. And number 5 is you're not listening enough. Go listen to the greats, study them, listen to them, absorb them, and then your playing is going to start sounding somehow through osmosis, just like the greats. All right, so those are 5 of the most common mistakes used when people try to solo. Again, ukelikethepros.com, the Beginning Soloing course, absolutely fantastic. It's going to help you become a great soloist here on the ukulele. Thanks for being here. I appreciate the comments. Smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel. That's going to do it for this one, and we'll see you in the next one.